Good evening. Welcome to the Public Safety Building Committee meeting for September 27th, 2017. This meeting is being recorded for cablecast and YouTube presentation by Area 58 Community Access Media. This video is not considered an official public record. We're done with the official stuff. We can dive into it. You said, do we have minutes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't bring a copy with me.
Okay, did folks have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
They were wonderful,
Fantastic.
unbelievable.
You want me to move it?
Settle down.
Just have to change that.
The
Thirty,
yeah.
the date.
So we would have said they were perfect, but the fact that the date needs to be changed,
Always have to have something.
keeps your job, right?
If you find the low-hanging fruit, they won't find the bad stuff.
All right, do we have a motion on the minutes, please?
So moved
To accept them
to accept.
Okay.
Second. As amended.
as amended? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on. Board of, well, you can go in order here, or is there a separate order? So you
No,
ready to pass that
I'll
up?
follow the
All
agenda
right.
today.
Board of Health determination regarding the septic system.
Okay, we have a
A letter?
letter.
Great, can I have it?
No. John said no.
John's not gonna get to poo if we build this thing. Okay. I'm going to hand this over to, you sent it to contact.
They'll go out tomorrow.
Okay. I'll scan it and send it to him so we get to jump on it.
And basically what we did is meet with the highway surveyor, the chief of police, and as I mentioned, I think at the last meeting, the highway surveyor, the highway department has a tight tank. And so all the black water goes into the tight tank and only gray water goes into the SAS. So, and there are only 2 sinks in the building, there's no floor drains. So we're talking about the usage of 2 sinks with 4 full-time people in the course of a day, so that's
Gallons a
nothing.
day?
Yeah. And the chief of police, we went back and we looked at the arrest records going back to 2012. And the highest 2 years since then in, what was it? In 14, there were 38 arrests, and in 015, there were 40 arrests. Before that and after that were significantly less. So if you average that, it's 39 arrests for the 2 highest years. Divide that by 365, and you get a 4% figure. So we took 4%, which is 8 gallons per day per holding cell, which is
Probably generous.
very generous. Over 365 days, so especially when they're only occupied less than 39 days a
Can
year.
we arrest John like 2 days before Christmas and not get him bailed and see if he's in there for 5 days?
So you mean be a test case?
I want to see him in the gorilla cage.
No, well, the thing is, if he's not bailed,
Going to Plymouth.
He can't,
he goes right to Plymouth.
Oh, that's
So
even better.
he
County.
can't, he can't stay overnight. So that's the reason. There's no showers, there's no anything that will be used in those holding cells. And they can't by law unless it's sprinkled, so we don't have to be concerned about that. And we actually upped the gallons per day in the police station to 220, even though, as we state, the exact same number of people will be going from the old facility to the new facility. There's 1 full-time chief and a part-time clerk, and then 2, possibly 1 per shift of officers on patrol. So that's very generous as far as that's concerned. Town Hall, they said that this room seats 100, and a gallons per day of 738, which I think everybody here, except for Dan, knows that that's pretty ridiculous. I don't remember the last time this room held 100
You
people.
can't fit 100 people in here.
Doesn't marijuana stuff.
I mean,
Who's the building inspector that gave him an occupancy permit for 100? What's his name?
so,
Damn business, Dan. You just sit there and be quiet.
The hired help will be quiet.
so we're saying it contains about 50 seats, and very rarely are there more than 10 people in the room. And if you've ever been to a selectmen's meeting, they can't draw a crowd, so, no offense.
Signed up for it, don't be looking at us.
Probably a dog hearing is the biggest crowd they'll get.
Did pretty well Monday night. Probably had 30
Still
people
didn't
in
come
there.
close to 100.
Yeah, but, and it's rare that most days this room is completely empty. So anyway, we feel that 388 gallons per day usage for the townhouse is accurate, probably generous. And the fire station shows a meeting room with 20 and a gallons per day of 100. The meeting room is used infrequently. I know it's used at Christmas time with the kids over there and they're cooking. Other than that, it's not used that much, maybe just a toilet here and there.
How much?
So we're looking at 60 gallons a day there. For the fire station, both the offices and the other 30 and 30. Fire station living quarters, there are never more than 2 EMT paramedics on duty at any one time. It's all we can afford. So we're looking at 2 bedrooms there for a total gallonage of 220, and you add that to the fire station with 60, and you get a total fire department of 280. And again, going back to the highway barn, everything's in a tight tank or draining out onto the asphalt. So we're looking at 20 gallons per day for 2 sinks in the highway barn. Total Plimpton complex total of 924 gallons per day, which is well under the design limit for the septic system.
You know what else is pretty evident too is the usage is staggered. So the fire department's gonna be at night, the townhouse is gonna be during the day, the police station's gonna be spread out over 24 hours. So you're never getting an inrush
No.
at 24 anyway.
No.
It's always gonna be staggered, 100 or 200 at a time.
You're gonna
Yeah.
have people to get an inrush of that.
Right? We probably don't have a big enough well to have the inrush.
Well, and the other thing too is the townhouse is only open Monday through Thursday. Fire and police are open 24/7, but highway barn, again, is open Monday through Friday. So there's not a lot, it's not taxing the system. And we do have a reserve area the size of the original SAS.
In case it fails.
In case it fails, it can be expanded, so.
What was their estimate? I mean, originally, you're at...
Oh, they came at 1904.
1904, and the system was designed for 1900, therefore you need to build a whole new system, which is a
we get
bunch of
benefits.
balagna.
Yeah, and, you know, we also ran this by the Director of Public Health in another town, and she was fine with very, very good calculations.
The
and
good news is that you're the authority, so it doesn't matter, because it's such a small system, it doesn't reach DEP anyhow, so it's done.
Yeah, yeah.
My only
That
thought was
issue-
I just did the quick math. I think you left out the fire station 60 in this.
And the math,
It should be 236
280.
and 280.
Yeah, I got 236.
280.
Oh, total fire department total.
Yes.
Gotcha. Never mind. My mistake.
See, I added the 60 and the 220.
God, he tried tripping down, couldn't do it.
Is the date right?
Ouch, man, he slapped you back to that.
So thanks to the Board of Health for being so prompt on this, helps move this along. So
This actually does help us move along, because from a design standpoint, we are about to do an estimate for review at our next meeting. So a couple things, since we're done with the health, I'll move on to
Sure.
You saw the boring machines here. If you didn't, we drilled our boring holes. We drilled 5, 4 corners and 1 sort of in the middle of where the building's going to go. The good news is that the material, from a structure standpoint, can hold 2 tons per foot, which means a spread footing is all we need for the perimeter of the building, which is about as cheap as we can go on foundation. The bad news is there's crappy soil from where the top is down about 4.5 feet, 5 feet, so we're gonna be digging out the center, replacing it with structural fill to the bottom of the slab, which on the size of this building ain't that big a deal. All right, so that's the good news. I did want you all to have a copy of the report. I know you guys like reading this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. This went to, has everybody got one? Yep. Do you want me to authorize the selectmen to get one, or do you want to
I
hold it?
don't need it. I
We can
probably
withhold it.
want it for,
We can withhold it from. It's not a public record. So he's done, he's invoiced. I have an invoice here for you guys to vote and send along to the Board of Selectmen to be paid. And that's on this one here. So,
Only pay him if we can build a station, otherwise he's not getting any money.
so from that standpoint, that's going pretty well.
So can we have a basement?
You can have a basement if you want a basement. You got the cash.
Nope.
You heard the building inspector say that he will work for free for 2 years so we can have a basement.
Do more than that.
So, that's really all we have to report. I think Colleen wanted to have a meeting next week, but I'm gonna suggest we go 2 weeks so that we can scrub that estimate, because the estimate's coming in probably the day of the meeting, and I don't like really just handing you an estimate that we haven't really scrubbed. So usually what happens with the estimate is the independent estimator works for the architect on this one. We will go through every line item and every quantity to make sure there's not an error, and agree on what the unit price is, and it's the unit price that drives this. So, we have our data, they have their data, and we'll come together on, we both agree on this being the cost, that being the cost, this being the cost, and most importantly, what the escalation factor will be for the midpoint of construction. So the estimate will be designed such that it goes to the midpoint of construction, so that would be the overall cost of if it's a 10-month build, the estimate would be dead on at month 5. So we want to make sure we're dead on with that before we go too much further, because if it's a few $100,000 high, then we have to have a meeting to talk about how to cut a few $100,000 high. If it's a few $100,000 low, we immediately go forward and start working on that entranceway, going to 58. So those are the things that I think, are the next few steps. We are working, and they are working, although you're not involved in it, the wheels are churning on this thing, and the architect took a reduced fee, so he didn't have to come to all these meetings, and we've been doing everything telecommunication-wise, and we've been, telephone calls, and me running up to their offices because they're prima donnas and can't get in the car and go south. I hope you heard that. So, from that standpoint,
I'll remind him.
Between the two of you, it's just,
I asked them not to come to tonight's meeting because I want to bank as many meetings as we have till we really have a problem and we need them. So they're churning away up there in Boston. And I want to reiterate the meeting I had with them before the last meeting, if anyone wasn't here. It went very well. They are designing the building exactly how we want it to be designed. There's going to be zero fluff in this building. So, there's no reason why we should have a budget problem. So we're looking forward to that estimate and make, hopefully Katrina, Harvey, Irving, Jose, Maria don't affect the costs of the materials too much that we've got a problem. Because this building's made of everything that is in dire need in Puerto Rico, Texas, and Florida. Isn't that good news?
we always forward cheery stuff. It's just,
Only
that's
good
why I
news is
said I
we're
wasn't
closer to
really actually
Canada.
And I think that's fine, because I know both Colleen and myself can't make a meeting next week.
Oh, good.
Colleen will be but not able to make a couple meetings after that, but we can keep moving.
Well, I think the meeting on what would be the, what, 10th?
11th?
The 11th? I think that's really gonna be a really important meeting, because, you know, if it's a good estimate, we're all just gonna keep rocking and rolling and get the bid set done. If it's a bad estimate, we have to make some hard choices amongst all of us to get this thing to what we promised the taxpayers within the appropriation. So we're not gonna go over the appropriation. You're gonna build this building, it's gonna get done, everyone's gonna be happy, the selectmen are gonna cut the ribbon, and we're gonna be happy.
The estimate,
I don't, if we're cutting things, we're cutting that ribbon right out of the cost.
Yeah.
That ribbon
It's
is
going to be
It's
donated.
coming out of, the inspector's
pizza
salary.
budget.
It's a budget.
The estimate, are they talking about submitting an estimate with some design plans for us to look at?
Yeah, all that will come on the 11th. You're gonna have a full set of SD drawings, which will be, elevation, what the materials are, narratives on the systems, and a plan, a section, so that, the estimator can, accurately gauge it. This is a relatively simple construction. Probably light gauge frame walls and wood trusses, and maybe block cells, and a slab on grade. I mean, it's not gonna get any simpler than this. The exterior's gonna be hardy plank and AZAC. Boom, done. No maintenance, done. See you later. Paint it blue, put the blue light on it, and we're done.
Is it gonna be,
Windows are optional.
no, we're not doing this. Is it gonna be appealing when we see it? If we
Yeah.
see it and we wanna change something, are we talking about driving?
Trims and things like that,
You know.
the building shape and size is gonna be exactly what we presented to the people.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Trims and things like that should be detailed enough for us to get a feeling of the sight lines and the window locations and things like that. Because I agree with you, we don't want a building that's ugly, and it doesn't take much to change that, and those types of trims and things aren't gonna be what kills the budget. So putting the little details on the building to make the building look right is not gonna kill us. If we're that close on the budget, we just don't tile a room or something like that, we'll figure that out, or we don't buy furniture. No bullets for the guns. We'll figure that part out when we get to it.
Are we gonna get those plans a day or two ahead of the meeting?
I'll get those plans, I can probably have those plans for you in the next couple of days, because they're gonna go to the estimators in the next couple of days.
No, I'm just thinking, as long as they get a couple days before the next meeting.
No, but I'll get, when we get them to price,
Yeah,
so we'll be looking at them as they're looking at them. When I get my full set of drawings for pricing, I'll send them out to you guys.
Okay.
I'll send them to Colleen, have Colleen send them to you.
perfect.
All right?
Okay.
I'd like to do a newsletter too, to tell the people where we are on the project, if that's all right with everybody, and just keep public engagement in.
They don't need to know anything.
Did you get that?
I think that, I think that's something we can.
Yeah, we gotta start
talk through,
doing that
but,
too. We're doing every other week on the school. I mean, I don't suspect we'll do that here.
But you're not mailing, you're just posting that online.
It's all electronic.
Yeah.
We're doing drone shots of the construction and videos, and it's great. I'm getting to be pretty good as a drone pilot. Pretty good. I even got my FAA registration. That's scary or what?
Wow.
They came home.
Give those to anybody, won't they?
Go click on to the Hanover school site and sign up for the newsletter. You'll like it.
I'm sure.
The people want to be engaged. They want to know.
Yeah, I think, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Once we hit this point where,
Once we have the design at SD, I think we should post some of the pictures in our newsletter and say, building committee's moving forward. Estimates have come in at X. We're charging forward to get it bid as soon as possible. We're still shooting for bidding in a couple of months, so, with the groundbreaking in March. Keeps writing, he's scaring me.
yeah, he always does that. You can't actually read any of it, so then-
So, may I? I'm not a member of the meeting. So, obviously, construction material going to be sky high for a while. 6 months from now,
Might not be.
it might not be.
Right.
So how does that all fit into this?
That's why the OPM and the architect and the estimator meet for about 8 hours and go through every line item and agree on where we think the inflation up and down goes. And we do that based on current prices and based on future orders. And we will do our best to nail this thing to a perfect number. We have been pretty spot on with all of our projects. We've only had one project that came in over since 2008, and that was in the city of Boston, and it was really had more to do with the city of Boston's onerous rules about hiring people from the neighborhood and things like that that are incalculable to the average human being, but they're used to, and the architect and the OPM just couldn't believe how much it cost to build in Boston. So, and that one was only over by 2%. So I'm not concerned, once we get the estimate, this first estimate's really important because we've really powered the building down to where I think Plimpton would be proud of the building, and it has everything it needs, and cutting from there is gonna be difficult other than cutting space, and I don't think we wanna go there. We're pretty small.
But that estimate will be based, recognizing prices real high now, guessing that they might not be so high.
That estimate will be based on where we think the prices will be.
In March.
No, 5 months from March.
When we bid it.
So, it'll be bid in March, but the estimate is based on the midpoint of construction,
Oh, okay,
okay?
yeah.
Right.
So that's actually a little hopeful, because that's far enough out that things may have settled down a little.
I've been waiting for gas prices to go down, and they haven't, and I gotta be honest, just a teeny bit, but, I mean, those refineries were only down for 2 weeks. And drywall uses heat to be made. Plywood uses petroleum for glues. Metal studs use heat to be cold formed. Everything we have in this building has a heat component to it, so, we have to watch where those commodities are going as we're estimating. It'll be okay. We're not gonna let you down. You don't mind if we put a top on the roof, do you?
Very, very, very comfortable.
It'll be a 30-year top.
That's for Dan,
This is for Dan?
yeah.
Uh-oh. That doesn't look good.
Bad.
I sent this to me.
Wasn't
I'm
it,
sorry, this. He gave it to me with all this.
is that's for him to fill out? You need someone to fill it out,
Fill it out
right?
for the meeting.
You didn't fill it out.
What do you want me to put in it?
Who's the name on this? Just Town of Plimpton? There's no person?
No, the electrician,
Kara?
whoever the electrician on record is gonna be is gonna fill that out.
The engineer's gonna fill this out. We're gonna get the work order going now, so we can get the design of the transformers now, so we know what the back charge to the town's gonna be. That's the purpose of this form. It's not for the actual work order to do the actual connecting to the grid. They have to come out, look at what's out here, tell us what size, because we're going with, we're not going with electric heat, we don't have a huge electric load, we're hoping that we can get away with popping a can or two on the poles out there as opposed to having to put an underground transformer pad and all that crap in there. That's where we're at.
The wire inspector doesn't go on it, it's the electrician or the engineer is gonna request it. On there, I mean, they have to define what it is that.
They're gonna fill out the load part. I think all they were looking for is who the contact is at the town and where the bill's gonna go to. So like I know you're a smaller town, but in most towns, there's a person that handles all the bills.
Yes.
There's a person that handles all of the,
We don't currently have a town administrator. So
Okay.
I think, why wouldn't we just put this committee to start with and we can pass it along, no?
If they can fill it out as best they can with whatever the intent is, the load and whatnot, and put the board of selectmen on it or something.
I'll fill it out.
Because they're gonna authorize the bill anyways.
I mean, they have to deal with the commercial engineer for the power company anyway.
Right. So you know the drill.
Yes.
It's BS too. Did you ever ask for a breakdown of the bill? They say, yeah, we'll give you a breakdown in 6 months. You want us to stop? No, we'll pay it.
I'm afraid what that might come back at.
You're
curious.
afraid. I'm afraid.
You know, I mean, I know what it is that they want to do, and I know what's out there already. It really shouldn't be that much.
If we get a can on the pole, which I think we can,
Well, there's one down the street at the bottom of the hill. There's a three-phase bank right down there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not-
In the garage.
I don't even imagine that we're gonna be 3-phase in this building. It's just gonna be a single phase off one of those.
And they're just going to increase the size of the one that's out there. They might change the pole.
Right.
That'd be good. But it's up to them. I mean, they're engineer and
And you know, they're
Anything
trying,
that they have
what
to
they're gonna
do.
do is, whatever's crappy on their end, they're gonna say, oh, it needs to be upgraded because of your service, and then, so we're gonna end up paying for their maintenance.
pretty much.
That's pretty much how this works. I can't even pretend anymore to say that there's rhyme or reason to it, because there isn't. And then sometimes they come back and say, oh, you owe nothing, and sometimes you're like 70 grand, you're like, oh, what?
Yeah. I remember what we went through at the transfer station.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Has anyone looked into the footprint in relationship to the tree line? I know at one point Context was concerned about whether we'd have to clear into the tree line at all.
We're clearing into the tree line. No question about it. There's no way around it. If you look where the corner stakes are,
No.
Hey guys,
The tree-
excuse me, whoever has the convertible, you might want to put the top up, it's starting to rain.
yeah, why'd you tell them?
Like you, sir.
What do you mean, he doesn't have one of those, the top goes up automatically as soon as it gets damp?
That's going,
Mine has,
John
Yeah.
puts top up.
John doesn't have rain sensor in convertible. So, that's it for now. I mean, we're in pretty good shape. We're holding schedule and things are looking good.
So when will the plans be ready? Next meeting?
Between now and next Wednesday, I'll make sure you get plans to start to review. They will be missing things, but there'll be a narrative that goes to the estimated saying 2x6 construction, 5/8 chipboard, drywall finish, 2 coats of paint, floor tile, whatever's on sale at Home Depot, that kind of stuff,
And the estimate is going to be at the next meeting? or-
by the 11th.
That's the big, I mean, that's the most important part right now at this point, to make sure that we're coming in.
Right. We can't let them draw the whole building if we're over budget.
Yeah.
So, but we do have, I think we're okay. I mean, I think we've got some pockets that I think we can come from.
I think the materials are going to be high for a long time because it's going to take so long to rebuild Texas, Florida, the islands.
Puerto Rico's devastated. I mean, you might as well just close it.
I mean, my friends out on the other islands have nothing. There's no
Right.
way to get it there right now.
Shouldn't be any more rain now.
Is it really raining?
No, it looks like it's just-
God, they need a little wind.
Most towns, they thought they just go, oh, gee, that's too bad.
He knew there was a beginning about the police station.
That's the police station building committee. I better go in and tell them. Otherwise, my locker's never gonna open. So, any questions?
You sure you had an invoice from the,
I do. It's on a copy. I signed it.
So we need a motion to recommend,
You already motioned at the beginning of the process that she would sign all the bills, so you guys don't have to sign it, but
right,
we have been bringing the bills for you to see if you want to vote it. You can vote
so
it.
make a motion that we recommend that the selectmen will pay, do we pay the selectmen pay these?
You make a recommendation that the selectmen pay the bill
Pay the geotechnical engineering?
out of our budget.
Yeah, out of the Public Safety Building Committee budget, the amount of $6,210.
Second?
Moved and second?
Second.
Okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
By the way, the architect was thrilled with the bearing capacities, because he was wigging out that he was gonna have to do these giant footings. And you know, we're gonna be on,
Well, I think that's, what he found was exactly what we expected.
well, you guys knew what was out there, but he
After talking-
didn't listen.
After talking to the highway surveyor, and that's exactly what he got. They had to take off the overburden, put it aside, bring in good material, and be done with it.
We got refusal down at, I think, 13 or 16 feet, so there's something really good underneath there.
What they had?
When they do the
Borings.
borings, they get to a point where they can't bore anymore, and there's a certain number of blows or rotations that they do. If it doesn't go any further down, they call it refusal. It's either bedrock or it's a giant stone or something, but, you know, we try to do one down 40 or 50 feet and the others, you know, 10, 15 feet each, so we know what's there, but we want to know what's under there, and we didn't get past 16 feet, so that's really good from, yeah, I mean, if you look at this building, there isn't a crack in it, so, I mean, it's on something solid, and I'm sure there's nothing but a,
Well, they're cracked, trust me.
looks pretty good. I didn't say the occupants.
Oh. That's different. What else?
John,
That's it. I'm good.
this is for Colleen.
Yep.
That package.
I shall have it with this.
Thank you, Mr. Selectman, for coming.
Glad
You
to.
are new liaison?
I am the liaison, yeah,
I think you're gonna be happy.
I'm sure. Sometimes I miss the meetings, I actually listen to them all, as long as they're recorded.
Really? I hope we entertained you.
They record everything?
So next meeting is October 11th at 6 o'clock.
And we should have the estimate. If for some reason the estimate's either not done or they missed the date, I'll let everybody know by the 9th so that you don't plan on being here. We'll just push it off a week.
And if you can just, for the next few weeks, if you can, anything you send to Colleen, send to me as well.
Well,
Just because I'll cover while she's not around to do any meeting.
she going with the paper again?
So with that,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
you will not. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn from anyone but this gentleman down here.
So moved.
On a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you and good night.
Awesome. Thank you. Very good.
All right, why did they repave that
Thanks,
section of
guys.
Main Street? I think they just repaved that like
That was a
2 years
base
ago.
coat.